Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Divorce Happens, the podcast where we support you before, during, and after divorce with education, inspiration, a little bit of laughter, because as we know, divorce happens and then you start fresh. And we're here with one of our amazing fresh starts experts, Tina. Tina, can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. So, hi everyone. I'm Tina Tzortzis. I'm a real estate professional licensed in Mass and New Hampshire. I'm part of a dynamic duo real estate group, the Georges Lane group, powered by Coldwell Banker. So, my business partner and I, Erin Lane, help home buyers and sellers, and specifically a lot of people going through divorce that have to sell their home. And we've been doing it for quite a while. So we have a lot to share and pass on that will hopefully help.
Yeah, so let's dig into it. I think that a lot of people think when they hear the word divorce, they immediately think divorce lawyer, right? We need a divorce
Hmm.
lawyer, but actually probably the most important person you need is a realtor, right?
Hmm.
Because no matter whether you're staying in the house or you're going to be selling the house, you need to have a realtor on your team. So
Absolutely.
let's take an instance that you're going to be selling the house with the person that you're married to.
Hmm.
What are some of the things that can come up, Tina, that might be very like stressful things? Let's prepare people, right? So things that you may not know that you
Hmm.
and your soon to be ex may either need to be discussing or that you have a realtor. And my other question, I'm going to just throw all my questions at you, Tina.
Yeah.
Do you like how does that work with when you're selling the house together? Do you decide on a realtor together or do you each have a realtor assess the house? Give us all the scoop here.
Yeah, so there's definitely a process in place, and I appreciate what you just said too, because a lot of people immediately think I need obviously divorce attorney is important, but it's never too soon to have a conversation with a real estate agent, in particular with finding someone that will support you and advise you throughout the entire process. A lot of
Yeah.
people think that, well, I'm not going to call the real estate agent until I'm like ready to list my house, whereas like we most agents really prefer to have the conversation early and often because we've done it so many times, especially going through the process with divorce couples and working with divorce attorneys. We can give you that advice up front that you're looking for. I have someone recently that I know that was going through a divorce and was sort of sharing me some things, and I was like, I really don't think you should sell your house right now. So it's not always what you think it's going to
Yeah.
be. Typically, we either get approached by one of the divorce parties directly. Maybe they know us, they've heard of us, it's a friend, or someone within our sphere, or we do get referrals from divorce attorneys, of which case sometimes the divorce attorneys basically say, all right, you have to interview multiple agents, and then the couple might decide on it together. Or some of the divorce attorneys might be like, this is the person that I think that
Right.
you should use. In that case, we really want to make sure that we have consensus from the couple
Yeah.
and both parties together and individually. A lot of times we are working with both partners in the marriage. Sometimes it's just one. It obviously makes it a lot easier if it's just one person, but
Right.
we want to make sure that both people feel comfortable with us representing them. So it really depends on the situation. And as you know, and some of your listeners, divorce takes a long time.
Yeah.
So you might start the conversation of like, okay, well, eventually we're going to have to sell the house. Well, from the start of the divorce and mediation and negotiations, that might be a year or two out. So if it's a year or two out, we like to come into the home and start advising our prospective clients like this is what we think you need to do because they're overwhelmed by everything
Yeah.
that's going on with the divorce.
Yeah.
um they're really not thinking about staging and like what we need to do and when was the last time we serviced the furnace and what year was this replaced
Mhm.
or whatever. And we don't want them to worry about that stuff.
No.
We're kind of
No.
like we'll come in and like we'll cross these bridges as we get to it.
Yeah.
So I think the important part is finding an agent that you can feel supported with. My business partner and I, Erin, like we do all of our listings together. We're both females, and we just, communication is really important for us.
Yeah.
And so we try to set those expectations with our clients or prospective clients up front
Yeah.
because we're going to be like BFFs. That's what we say. It's like you're basically
Mhm.
hiring like the BFF that you didn't know that you needed to help you through this process.
Yeah.
And it ends up being a lot deeper than people think it is. It's not just
Oh my
design
gosh.
choices
No.
and, and to be quite frank, from a real estate perspective, like a lot of people think like we're HGTV and worried about staging. We're more concerned with our clients' well-being and what they can feasibly do.
Yeah.
Sometimes our clients are so overwhelmed. We're like, all right, we're not going to talk about this right now. We're going to sort of, break it apart into steps so it's more
Yeah.
manageable for them.
I'm laughing a little bit inside, and this is not funny, but only because I know what this is like. I know the process, and just going through it, it's like you have to look back and say, like you said, we were fighting about, when was the last time the water was changed and this and that, and
Right.
it's like, and so I would love for you to talk for a second about why it is so important to have a realtor on your side. And I don't mean on your side, I guess involved in the process. Because
Hmm.
let me put it this way, I can see how people might be influenced by their soon to be ex to be like, let's just sell the house by ourselves, right? Let's save money, or
Hmm.
let's do this or that, right? But to have a realtor in place to be that morally neutral person,
Hmm.
right? Do you see that a lot? Like you have to kind of be that
Yeah.
person?
Yeah. And I think actually morally neutral is probably the best way to describe it. You really want a neutral party. I mean, if you are in a situation in the divorce where both spouses have to be involved with signing off,
Yeah.
making decisions, and giving us the green light to do certain things, I mean, if it already didn't work out in the marriage, like both partners like selling the house together and agreeing
No.
upon things isn't usually going to happen. So from the get-go, we kind of, we learn a little bit more about the clients and their needs and what their goals are, like with the
Right.
divorce and selling the house. And we also have those conversations as long as we're authorized with like the divorce attorneys. And so
Yep.
we kind of become a team
Yep.
to understand, like, we've had some clients where it's like, what, to streamline communication, we're all going to be on the same emails and text chains together. We've had some clients where it's like, no, you're just going to talk to me and you're going to talk to my ex separately. And then you're going to tell us what happened because we can't stomach the idea of having the
Right.
conversations together.
Right.
So I think that helps it. And quite frankly, even in the best case scenario, selling a home, especially a family home where there's
Yeah.
memories, is so highly emotionally charged.
Yeah.
And it's like anything in life, which is why you hire experts to help you through. Like there's going to be things that as a couple going through divorce you're not going to see or be privy to that we are, but like you don't have to worry about that because we're going to make sure at the end of the day
Yeah.
our job is we have your best interest at heart. So it kind of takes that off of the seller. And quite frankly, you don't want to be dealing with like people directly coming in and out of your home, especially buyers, especially, and people, consumers in general, are so highly critical. So if you're already in
Mm.
a highly vulnerable state,
Oh, wow.
I
Yeah.
don't think you really want honest feedback, even if your
Yeah.
house is in perfect condition. So
Tina,
there's
I
a,
never thought about
yeah,
that. That you just like blew my mind saying that. What an interesting concept that is. And I was going to say too, to add on to that, for many people, they've never sold a house before, right?
right.
I mean, I never sold the house when I sold my marital house, right? So,
Hmm.
that is really interesting. So you're like the buffer because you're already so
Hmm.
vulnerable. And I also wanted to, I could literally talk about this with you forever. I think it's so important. But
Hmm.
also what you said, and I would love for you to expand on this, is it's not just the divorce lawyer and realtor. There's a mortgage lender. There's a
Hmm.
property assessor, right?
Right.
All of these. So can you talk about the importance of that team and how the realtor kind of heads up that team?
Absolutely. So the flip side of the home sale is where are each of the respective parties going to go, and what does that look like, and what and who, like
Right.
you said, who are the key players. So a good real estate professional is really like a project manager of all of those people.
Yep.
Even the real estate attorney. I mean there's a real estate attorney involved as well.
Yep.
So you have the divorce attorney, the real estate attorney, both on both sides.
Yep.
And then you have, if, where am I going? Is this money going to be, is one spouse getting it or is the other spouse getting it? Are
Right.
they splitting it? Or do they need to find a rental? Are they buying
Yeah.
something else, like what does that timeline look like? So there's all these moving parts that are really complex that you really just you don't want to do it on your own. And I think in most cases, like even statistically speaking, most people don't do it on their own. And if they're
Yeah.
working with a divorce attorney, they'll
Yeah.
recommend that you
Yeah.
hire a real
Yeah.
estate professional. But I always, we try to empower consumers and our clients to be like, you have options. So we
Mhm.
never like to assume. So even if I'm getting a direct referral from a local divorce attorney or a friend, I'm going in as an interview because I want to make sure that person's like, we think Tina and Aaron are the best people
Yeah.
to represent us
Yeah.
versus just being, well, my attorney said I should use you, so
Right.
I'm going to use you. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's great for us, but for us, the relationship
Yeah.
is about building consensus because
Yep.
you're already dealing with a relationship that didn't work out. So we don't want to feel like
Ugh,
this is a
so
forced
interesting.
relationship.
Yeah, that's
So,
fascinating.
and I think people going through that divorce
Yeah.
process like need to feel in control
Yeah.
on either side. We've seen it because we've also been in situations where if one divorce attorney recommended us and the other one didn't, and we won, the spouse doesn't feels like
Right.
there's an adversarial relationship. And so
Yeah.
our job is to diffuse that because we represent all parties,
Right.
you
It
know?
is fascinating. There's so much to untangle there. It's fascinating.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Tina, where do you work if somebody's listening to this and they're like, "She is the one for me. I want to work with her." Where do you and Erin work, and how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so Aaron and I work, we're out of Ipswich, Massachusetts, which is North Shore. We're about 40 minutes north of Boston. We cover a pretty large area here in the North Shore of Massachusetts. I'm also licensed in New Hampshire. And so I cover southern New Hampshire and the Seacoast area. So if anyone is going through that and just has questions, we're always happy to help and sort of also offer them other resources that they
I
might
love
need
that.
that they may have not thought about. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. Well, for anybody that's
Yeah.
listening to this, Tina, there might be somebody listening to this that's considering a divorce or getting divorced.
Mhm.
As somebody that works with a lot of people going through this life transition, what would be some words of encouragement that you could leave them with?
Oh man. Just that they will get through it. And there are people there to support them, who will hold their hand and do right by them. And even if stuff sucks now, like there's a light at
I
the
love
end of
it.
a tunnel, and we really pride ourselves and are honored to be part of that journey with people. We love to see our clients like move in that right direction. So just things will get better.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here, Tina.
Yeah.
And if anybody is interested in working with Tina or learning more, you can go to Fresh Starts Registry and find Tina and Erin in the expert guide. Thanks, Tina.
Awesome. Thank you.